So actually pivoting to work with fractional CFOs and independent finance leaders has been an interesting thing for me because I've been very much hyper aware of the operations of what it means to run a business and the actual financial aspects of it through a lot of the conversations I've been having, a lot of the research I've been doing myself, and a lot of the work I've been doing in the process of working with this new client base. And one thing that I think is quite interesting through my learnings and my research is how detrimental it can actually be when you feel that you are generating more revenue, and as a result you're making hires, right? You're hiring new people at a fast rate, not realizing what the sort of runway is looking like later down the line when it comes down to your finances. And before you realize, you've burnt a lot of the actual revenue in practice, and the runway in terms of the money that you had to last you will be cut short. It may even be split in half based on the investments made. And then sometimes you got to think, is it actually an investment? Because you may think it's an investment in that aspect because you're thinking, you know what, I'm hiring more people, which means that I'll be able to generate more revenue as a result because there's more people doing things. And interestingly, I realized that there's so much intricacies to being able to build and scale a business effectively, because if you don't increase your prices at the right time, you may always be in a minus in terms of you being able to generate the, I suppose, optimal amount of money that you can based on your service. So I find this stuff incredibly interesting, and that's why I wanted to niche down my offering to work with those fractional CFOs and independent finance leaders more directly, because building my own business and working towards building a seven-figure brand within 1,000 days, you have to get your finances correct, man. Every day I'm realizing that there's going to be so many things in the process of scaling and growing that I need to be very much privy to, because I just don't want to be in a position where I've made mistakes that I shouldn't be able to make, knowing that I'm immersed in a level of understanding of how you grow and develop and to scale. So this just inspired me to do a video talking about my personal thoughts on the steps regarding how you outsource to other people regarding what you are doing. And as I always talk about, with you being able to build a revenue generating brand, it is in your best interest to also consider to invest in yourself, right? And you can invest in yourself through, courses, working with people directly, whatever the case. But then it's a case where investing in yourself means investing in the right tools, the right systems, and the right people. You need the right people in your team in order to continue to grow and to scale. And for me, I personally believe there's three levels to the aspects of outsourcing efficiently, right? And in this video, I'm going to discuss all three. So if you feel like this is interesting and this will be extremely valuable to you, then please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do not know, I record and I upload content all the time. In actual fact, I upload one long form video every single day. This is my campaign brand where I'm documenting the process and the journey of launching my own agency, my own community, and really doing everything in my power to generate and build a seven-figure brand within 1,000 days. Every day I'm committed to the journey, and every day I'm blessed to be able to share my knowledge, my insights, and my expertise with you. So please subscribe if you think that's a bit of you, and let's just get straight into it. So the first level of outsourcing and the aspect of outsourcing is don't outsource. That's the first thing, and I'll explain. I personally believe that the first layer or the first level when it comes down to the decision of outsourcing is you need to learn how to do it yourself. You need to learn how to do it yourself. However, there are caveats to that actual point, right? I say if the thing in question is something that requires you to do, which is a high leverage task, where you doing that is very much correlating with the idea of generating revenue for your business, I believe it is in your best interest to learn how to do it first. And I'll give you an example. Sales is one of the most impactful things I've had to learn over the last few months and years, I would say. And I'm still learning, I'm still developing the skills in terms of how to sell effectively. But the whole point remains that if you cannot sell your own service, then what makes you think that someone else will be able to sell it? You need to be able to have an idea of what are the objections that people say when it comes down to your service. How are you able to make it a irresistible offer where people see it and they realize, you know what? I need this in my life. I need the support. I need the help. Can you help me? You need to make it something that will ultimately allow the person in question to reach their desired outcome in the most efficient, effective way. And you need to be able to sell it. You need to be able to sell it and explain exactly what it does, why it's beneficial, who it's for, what the results will be, and how it will change their lives, how it will get them from one place to the next stage of their business through the work that you are doing, the work that you are promising to help them achieve their dream outcome. So that process there, I think it is imperative that you learn how to do that. You learn how to sell. You learn how to speak with your customer, your client, your prospect. You learn the ropes of doing that first, because only then will you be able to then showcase to others how it's done. So with that, I would say in the process of doing it yourself, if you do not know how to do it, or you don't have the skills to do it, or you feel like you can improve on what you are doing, I would advise at that stage, rather than you putting your money towards someone to outsource the task to, pay someone that will then help you improve on the aspects of that particular thing. I.e., if you don't know how to do sales, for example, pay someone to help you showcase how you can do it yourself, because then you are learning the skills in real time. You are learning from someone who's been there and done it and got massive results. They got the proof to match as well. So you invest in your money in someone that can help you learn how to do it, as opposed to paying someone to do it and you have no idea what the actual process is. That will set you back. You need to be able to have a basic understanding of the process to the point where you are able to then share with someone else after the fact. And that's what brings me to level 2, or layer 2. Then after that, after that's all said and done, after you've done your rounds of being able to sell this service, you're being able to upsell, you're being able to do the delivery, you have the whole process of the buying journey, as I spoke about in my previous video. Check it out, because I think that video is extremely important, and that video is something that will ultimately become something that will evolve over time as I or share my SOPs at some stage. That will be something I'll be looking to do in a way that makes the most sense. But it took a long time because you have to follow the actual process of the buying journey. And there's so many things that you may not consider until you've gone through it yourself. So with that in mind, following the idea that now you know how to do it. And like I said, for the example that we're going to use for this, we're just going to keep it in sales. So now you know how to sell your product and or service, right? You know how to sell them. You know the process of the buying journey. So now you have to have your systems in place. That's level 2. You haven't even outsourced anything to anyone yet. You have to build the system. And that's why in my video where I spoke about the importance of building a brand, a business brand, a revenue generating brand, is ensuring that you have your SOPs sorted. You have your SOPs lined up. And if you don't know what SOPs are, standard operating procedure, right? Standard operating procedures. Those are the official documentation for yourself that follows all the steps, that follows the whole journey of you finding a lead to them ultimately upselling as a retainer, because you want to keep them on for longer to increase the lifetime value of that prospect or the client now, right? So that's level 2. You need to have all your systems in place. And then you need to be able to have the systems where you can follow it to a T and the result is inevitable, right? And anytime there's something that happens that doesn't necessarily go to plan based on that SOP or the documentation, you add to it. You add to it, you refine it, and you build it to something that is sort of bulletproof, I would say, in that sense. It works, it does what it needs to do, and anyone can ultimately read it and follow the process and get results from it. So that's level 2. And then level 3, once you have got to that stage that you have the SOPs, you know how to do the process already yourself, then you outsource. Then you find someone that can help you, because through that process, you would have gone through the idea of knowing how to generate your own clients and your own revenue. So by then, you would already have a sort of target or a sort of baseline, knowing how much monthly recurring revenue you're able to generate on a monthly basis. And based on that, you then know, okay, I have my SOP, I have my approach. Now, let me outsource someone that knows how to do the sales. And you have to go through that process because you need to be able to have documentation to share with the person in question, that they understand everything from the start to finish. So they know the whole process and they know exactly where they slot in and how they can add additional value to where they're at or where they're positioned within the journey. And that part is important because you don't want to be in the moment of outsourcing everything heavy and you don't know how to do it yourself. So when there's actually bumps in the journey and there's bumps in the buyer journey and no one knows what's going on and they don't know what the reason this has happened, you won't know either. You won't know either in terms of actually providing more clarity or context in a way that can help the person in question. And if you are not helping that person to adapt to what you are selling, it's not going to work. And you will sit there wondering or saying that they're not good at sales, but you never prepare them. If anything, my daddy always says that people, they'll prepare you. What's the word he used? He said that they'll set you up to fail. They'll set you up to fail because they never provided all the resources, the documentation, the procedures, all the collateral and material necessary for you to have a perfect, crystal clear understanding of what it is that you need to do to follow the whole process. And if you just don't know the process, you're not going to be able to know what to do. So if you make an error, then it's not on the person, it's on you, because you haven't developed the full process of the procedure that they should follow and adhere to. You know what I mean? Honestly speaking, it's so important. And it is through me just continuously learning and speaking to people and seeing real life stories of people showcasing that I've been able to then realize that this is very important, that I narrow this down very much early in the development of my brand and my business and my journey, because it's very evident that if you do not prepare for those things, then it will set you back. And I suppose that's the levels, in my humble opinion. The only caveat that I mentioned where it may not necessarily apply is if it's something that you know doesn't directly apply to the revenue generating approach. So for argument's sake, if you are looking to work with someone for the social media side of things, but you are doing it more so to raise awareness, right? You're doing it to raise visibility. You're using it to showcase your work in a way that resonates with different platforms. That one in particular may not be something that you need to learn yourself, because that one doesn't correlate with the idea of a revenue generating process or a high leverage task that then aligns with the idea of you being able to generate revenue for the business. So those particular things in mind, whatever it is that you can think of, I would say those are the things that I would say stand out away from the concept at hand, where you can actually outsource very early in your journey. Granted, you have an understanding of the ROI of doing so. But then anything else involved in the actual high leverage process of you being able to generate money for your business, level 1, learn it yourself or find someone that you can pay that can teach you to become professional at it. Or if not professional, just someone that is just knowing their way around the process. Level 2, have your systems in order, your SOPs, your processing, everything organized and crystal clear. So when you do it repeatedly, you know that this is a repeatable process that actually works. And then at level 3, you then outsource, and then you invest your money to go and get someone in the team to go and help you in the process of your high leverage task. And with you doing that, and with you knowing the process, you will be that way more prepared for the aspects of scaling your business and generating more revenue and being able to build based on the fact that you set the groundwork and you set the foundations in order to do it in a more efficient, effective way. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I think that this is incredibly beneficial and not many people talk about this, and I think it is very necessary if you are looking to really build, as I say, a revenue generating brand and build a level of brand authority. Because it's all well and good to build your personal brand and have that level of trust, but I always say, if your business brand does not correlate and it's not cohesive with the full journey of your prospect, then it's just not going to be something beneficial for you in the long term. Make sure that your personal brand, your business brand, and your campaign brand is cohesive with each other, and make sure that you focus on understanding how you are able to deliver before you get anyone else on board, right? So that's it. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out. Look after yourself.